Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Will other One Chicago shows lose series regulars like Chicago Fire? Could we be seeing more cast departures on the One Chicago shows and why? Negotiations for new seasons continue to happen at NBC. One Chicago fans have so many things to love about the series, and the best is the large ensemble casts. Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD all boast a bevy of great actors who will get the spotlight at times while also filling out a great drama. Obviously, there have been a lot of cast departures over the years for all three shows. Still, fans were thrown by word that both Daniel Curry, Darren Ritter, and Jake Lockett, Sam Carver, will not be returning to Chicago Fire when Season 14 airs next year. On top of that, Chicago Fire Season 13 Episode 18, spoiler alert, had Jack Damon, Michael Bradway, badly injured in a fire and the hint that his career may be over. There's still a chance the character stays on, yet this could be a way to write him off too. Dropping 3 cast members may be shocking, yet according to a Deadline article on the departures, it's for economic reasons, such as higher production costs. This leads to the question of whether this is the start of a cast purge of other One Chicago shows. The downside of a show with a large ensemble cast is that the budgets are automatically higher for salaries. That's especially challenging for shows with higher production values. Chicago Med tends to be lower in budget, with almost all the action happening in the emergency room, while Fire and PD have a lot of stunt work involved. This means it's becoming more commonplace for Dick Wolf shows to not use the entire cast every episode. The FBI shows on CBS have become experts at it, with characters, especially on FBI, Most Wanted, absent in episodes with excuses ranging from a special assignment to a family emergency to vacation to just being sick. It's a good way to save some money for the studio. It has to be remembered that the networks are still dealing with the 2023 Hollywood strikes, which cost them billions in ad revenue. There is also the expectation that the current economic situation will escalate the cost of production across Hollywood. Throw in how every season has cast negotiations involving raises, and the networks are more into penny pinching than in the past. It's a story as old as TV, as many a show in the past has had to cut costs in the most obvious way possible by dropping actors. It's trickier for the One Chicago shows as you can't have skeleton crews for firefighters or doctors, yet the worry remains. So far, Chicago Fire will be down 2 actors for sure and possibly a third. Cutting down more will be tricky as again, you can't have the squad with only 4 or 5 firefighters, but there might be less for the entire crew to do. It could also mean fewer high-budget emergencies. Chicago Med might actually work any cuts into the storyline with the hospital forced to fire doctors to have enough money to keep running. The series has already touched on that, and it could simply increase and add to the drama of an understaffed hospital handling more emergency situations. Chicago PD is the smallest ensemble of the trio, so it might be safer. Yet also a possibility that either budget cuts or, more likely, political pressures force the intelligence unit to be whittled down to only 4 or 5 cops. It could also be another old practice in television to drop the longer-running cast members who command high salaries and replace them with new actors whose contracts would be far lower. So it may be less a purge than saving cash by getting cheaper actors. This may be a sad thing for fans and possibly hurt the shows with fewer characters. But television is, first and foremost, a business, and business means making hard choices when it comes to money. It's still early to tell, but these early departures may be the first sign that the One Chicago shows may be in for some cast departures that could be very unexpected. It started with a siren's wail and a Chicago skyline kissed by flames. Chicago Fire burst onto our screens with the crackle of danger and the warm pulse of brotherhood. Over the years, we've watched beloved characters like Casey, Severide, and Bowden face tragedy, triumph, and sometimes that final walk out of Firehouse 51. As fans wipe away the tears over goodbyes like Blake Gallo's recent exit, the question looms large. Could other One Chicago shows, namely Chicago PD and Chicago Med, be next in line to lose major players? Let's just say the Chicago wind isn't the only thing sweeping change through the Windy City. A storm brewing in Chicago PD. The 21st District has always been gritty. It's not all high-speed chases and takedowns, it's psychological warfare, it's secrets that eat away at good cops, and it's the price of justice paid in blood and guilt. And lately, there's been a quiet shift in the air. Fans at Chicago PD have noticed the wear and tear on Detective Jay Halstead before his departure, and now all eyes are on Haley Upton. Her pain lingers in her voice, the grief behind her badge undeniable. Voight's unit is used to change, but what happens when loyalty isn't enough to anchor these officers to the job? If Upton walks, will others follow? There are whispers, unconfirmed of course, that Atwater might be at a crossroads. He's always stood tall, but recent storylines have him reevaluating everything from his moral code to his place in the unit. And then there's Burgess. She's finally found a rhythm with Ruzek, and their little family has become a beacon of hope. But how long can she juggle life on the edge with the quiet pull of stability? If PD is next to lose a series regular, it wouldn't be shocking. It would be natural. These characters have earned their exits. But in true One Chicago fashion, it won't be clean. It'll be messy, heart-wrenching, and it'll probably involve a twist we didn't see coming. Paging drama at Chicago Med. While the firemen blaze through flames and the cops walk moral tightropes, Chicago Med has its own revolving door, and not just the one in the ER. The white coats at Gaffney Medical Center have seen their fair share of change, from Dr. Connor Rhodes' tragic farewell to the recent heartbreak surrounding Dr. Will Halstead's exit. At Chicago, Fire is a brotherhood and PD is a battleground. Then Med is a beating heart constantly under stress, and lately it's been palpitating with instability. With Halstead gone, there's a gaping void. Dr. Charles is still a rock, but how long can he hold the fort? Rumors have swirled around Dr. Crockett Marcel. Is his mysterious past about to catch up with him? Will he choose a quieter life, or could his journey come to a shocking surgical end? Meanwhile, Dr. Hannah Asher has battled demons and emerged strong, but nothing in Med stays stable for long. Could she be lured away for a fresh start, leaving patients and viewers gasping? Then there's Maggie Lockwood, a fan favorite, a powerhouse, a woman who's anchored chaos with compassion. If the writers want to hit us where it hurts, all they'd need to do is hand Maggie her walking papers, or worse, a storyline that takes her out on her own terms. It would be the kind of gut punch Med specializes in, intimate, emotional, and unforgettable. What's fueling these departures? It's no secret that long-running shows need to evolve. Actor contracts end, story arcs close, and sometimes the writers take bold swings to reignite the drama. That's part of what makes One Chicago such a compelling universe. It's never afraid to hurt us. But lately, the departures feel less like creative pivots and more like a signal. Are the producers subtly preparing us for a larger shift across the entire One Chicago franchise? The shared universe thrives on crossovers and continuity. One loss ripples through the others. When Casey left Fire, you could feel the shockwaves in PD. When Halstead left PD, it echoed through Med. It's a delicate web, pulled too many threads, and the entire city could unravel. Could we be heading toward a new phase? A soft reboot? A changing of the guard? The next generation? Let's not forget, every departure opens the door to new blood. And with Fire, PD, and Med, the writers have done a remarkable job of seeding the next generation. In Fire, Carver's rough edges hint at long-term growth. In PD, Dan Torres brings a raw perspective that could redefine the intelligence unit. And over at Med, Dr. Zola Ahmad is already stirring up intrigue. Still, new faces don't erase old bonds, and the emotional investment fans have made over a decade can't be replaced overnight. The shows must walk a tightrope, refreshing the cast without losing their core.